Very good morning, boys and girls. This is Mr. Robot. How are you doing? Today is the second lesson. I hope everybody enjoyed the previous lesson. Our today's lesson is going to be setting, and you will find this lesson on pages number 6 and 7. I hope you enjoy this lesson. Boys and girls, let's start our new lesson. So, when we say the word setting, that means we are going to talk about the place and time in which the story takes action. So if I'm telling you a story, basically I will need to show you where my story is happening and when is that happening. I need to tell you a place and also a time. So setting stories tell the reader where the story takes place. And there are hundreds of different settings that are used in stories. Let's take an example, please. If you are watching or reading the story of Cinderella, basically the first place that you will see Cinderella in is in her house. And she would be cleaning the place, washing the dishes, and other stuff. So the setting here is going to be her house, where she lives in with her stepmom and her stepsisters. But some of the most popular settings are going to be a castle, for example. In the story of Sleeping Beauty, this beautiful girl is basically locked on a tower on the top of a castle, and she was sleeping over there waiting for the prince who would be saving her. So the setting here, the place, is a castle. Sometimes it's going to be a dark forest, like in Robin Hood's story. Well, Robin Hood lives in a dark forest, or let's only say in a forest. And by the way, if you get into that forest, you will get robbed. Or space. If you are reading or telling a story about people traveling between planets and fighting aliens, the place here is going to be space. You are going to be talking about space and how traveling through space is going to be so dangerous, and the aliens you will fight or your characters are fighting are so weird. And also, if you are reading or writing a story about pirates, it's going to be in the sea or maybe by the seaside. Or at least if you are writing an adventure story, basically consider the seaside to be your setting. It's going to be very interesting. And finally, one of the most popular settings or places, it's a palace. And you will easily find this in most of the stories, the traditional stories. And the previous example about Cinderella's story, So there was that prince who actually held a party in his palace, and he has invited all the beautiful women in his town. He actually wanted to find a wife. Or maybe you could make it even more interesting by thinking more of unusual settings such as an underground hive. So here is a good example, which is the Ant-Man, and it's a movie. In this movie, the Ant-Man actually wears a suit that helps him shrink himself into the size of an ant. And he can actually control ants too. So he has an army of ants. Or inside a fridge, or in the kitchen in general. And another example for this would be the Babaloo's adventures. And these adventures, they are actually kitchen utensils and tools. Well, they wake up once everybody sleeps, and then they would make their own adventures at night, or in a rubbish bin, or the palm of your hand. Maybe you can write about germs and defenders of your body actually fighting. Everybody here has an army in their body, your immunodeficiency. So there is always some kind of fights in your body. You can write about that too. A classwork for you boys and girls. So here, write down the names of 3 stories you read recently. Any story that you have read, just write 3 of them. And then write down the main setting of each story. And beware, boys and girls, some stories have more than one setting. So basically, write maximum 2 or 3 main settings, places, and time. Let's go to the second part. Match the setting to the story. Look at the pictures below and decide which book title they match in the next books. So here is the books, and we will find titles of books or names of stories, and then the pictures are different settings. I need you to match the name of the story to the possible setting picture. So book number 1, The Royal Mystery. Castle in the Sky. Travel here and there. Exploring the universe. The Scary Forest. So an example for this would be the story The Royal Mystery would happen on picture number 5. It would happen in a castle because it's talking about royals or nobles. So I need you to say that like that and answer. Please choose one of the following settings and write 5 to 10 lines. Please, this is going to be in your writing copybooks. Number 1, on your hands. Please imagine that there is a war between germs and your sanitizer while you are looking at it with a microscope. Please describe what you can see on the palm of your hands. Or space. You need to imagine that you are traveling to another planet. What can you see around you in space? Or number 3, by the seaside. So think of a picnic or a journey you have gone to with your family. What can you see, hear, or feel by the seaside? This part is for the parents.